the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun. Hello and welcome. Tonight, federal government shifts population and housing census till May due to the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections. Candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, asked Nigerians to shun voter apathy and participate in Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections. Supreme Court affirms the candidacy of Patrick Dakum as the Labour Party governorship candidate in Plateau State as the party's presidential flag bearer Peter Obi joins his campaign rally.
And on business news, the National Bureau of Statistics says the country's inflation rate rises to 21.91% in February from 21.82% in January, and that's the fastest pace in almost 18 years.
On sports news tonight, reigning champions U.S. Monastir of Tunisia hands Nigeria's representative Kwara Falcons a third successive defeat at the Basketball Africa League in Dakar, Senegal.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, former Chief of Defense Staff General Martin Agwai asks political parties and their supporters to choose dialogue over violence in resolving political differences.
And in international news from London, Pakistan's main opposition leader Imran Khan has greeted supporters outside his home hours after there were violent clashes as police tried to arrest him.
The federal government has announced the postponement of the conduct of the national census to May this year. The Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, disclosed this after the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was presided by President Muhammadu Buhari. He also announced the approval of 2.8 billion naira for the procurement of the software for the National Population Commission for the conduct of the exercise. Our State House correspondent, Gloria Umezoke, reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari resumes the Federal Executive Council meeting for the first time since the February 25 presidential polls. He begins with the swearing-in of 7 reappointed board members of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission.
Justice Adam Bello, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Subsequently, the meeting, which went into a closed-door session, saw the approval of the Nigeria Agenda 2050, aimed at a drastic reduction of the poverty threshold in the country.
The 2050 agenda highlights the roadmap for accelerated, sustained, and broad-based growth, and also provides broad frameworks and approaches for reducing unemployment, poverty, inequality, and human deprivation.
The Minister of Information and Culture also disclosed that the 2023 National Population and Housing Census has been rescheduled to May.
On behalf of the National Population Commission, which was actually seeking for some software to allow them conduct census in May this year, I believe because of the reschedulement of the elections, they could not commence the census as scheduled.
In a question and answer session, the raging subject of fuel subsidy removal became central. Barely 3 months away from its discontinuation, there are concerns about the palliative measures.
For over a year plus now, His Excellency the Vice President has been leading a committee working on this. The National Economic Council also has a committee that has also been working on this. So the stage that we are is hard to finalize, the suggestions that have come up from both sides, both from the federal government side and from the governor's side. Like it's something that is going to affect the entire nation. And so they will just have to ensure that everyone is carried along, That's both the federal and then the sub-national government.
After an 18-month extension in January 2022, 3.3 trillion naira was proposed by the government to fund petrol subsidy till June 2023. The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, as of now, is very unclear about a timeline for when the discussions on palliative would conclude. But it would be recalled that conversations had begun previously on providing at least 5,000 naira cash to each of the 40 million Nigerians identified as the poorest of the poor. And now it will be very instructive and fundamental to know how that conversation would end to ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians after June this year. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezeke, Channels Television News.
To politics now. Former President Goodluck Jonathan is calling on politicians to ensure that they conduct themselves properly before, during and after the electioneering period. The former president gave the admonition at Sankpo community in Kolokuma-Opokuma local government area of Bayelsa State, where he paid Governor Doye Diri a condolence visit over the death of his father. Dr. Jonathan says the choice of political leaders should only be determined by the electorate at all times.
I can only advise that politics is not about you must be there. If God wants you to be there, you will be there. If it is not yet your turn to be there, you will not be there. When I became a vice president, that day I almost cried. I never wanted to. But that was my destiny, and I had to move. So I'll advise those who are contesting for our state. The challenges are minimal because only state assembly elections we have, no governorship elections. Those elections will come up this year anyway. So I plead that our people who are interested in these offices and our supporters should conduct themselves very well. They want to serve us, not to serve themselves. I always tell people that if you are so ambitious, then go and do business. You cannot force me that to take you to serve me. If you want to be in the state assembly and people don't want you, fine, go and sleep. You want to be a governor and the people don't want you, go and sleep or do business. But if you want to serve us as people, then you must be humble and you will not kill us before you serve us. So people must conduct themselves peacefully. And if God wants them to win their elections, they will win their elections.
The People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, have withdrawn a fresh application they filed to compel the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to allow their agents to participate in the process of sorting out ballot papers that were used for the presidential election that held on February the 25th. Both the PDP and Mr. Abubakar, who are separately challenging the outcome of the election, told the Presidential Election Petition Court that they were no longer interested in the application and have filed a notice of discontinuance. According to sources, the decision of Mr. Atiku Abubakar to withdraw the application was as a result of a meeting his legal team held with the leadership of the electoral body on Tuesday. Following the withdrawal of the application, Justice Joseph Ikeg-led three-member panel has struck out the suit. Meanwhile, the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar is asking Nigerians not to be discouraged by the outcome of the February the 25th elections, but instead remain committed and ensure full participation in Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections. Mr. Abubakar was speaking at the Yola International Airport ahead of the state elections. According to him, Nigerians should not allow the performance of the electoral umpire affect their decision to go out and cast their votes.
I would like to use this opportunity to sincerely thank the people of Adamawa for giving us an overwhelming support. Now, having said that, if I am not downcasted, if I am not discouraged, they should take a cue from me and make sure that they also remain, resilient, strong, and committed, to the victory of the next gubernatorial and state assembly polls. If there is any governor that has a second term, it should be Governor Ahmadu Fintiri. I have worked with governors from 1999 up to this point in time. I can tell you, not because he's here, I'm not afraid of him. nobody, no governor has impacted on the lives of the people of this state better than Ahmadu Fintri. Take the various sectors, take the social sector, take the educational sector, take the healthcare sector, and then look at the infrastructure, both urban and rural. I mean, also look at the security situation in the state. So I think he deserves a second term so that he can continue to do the good work he has been doing. I made a national broadcast to all Nigerians and especially PDP supporters that they should not be discouraged with the extremely poor performance of INEC in the last election. It should rather be a challenge to Nigerians to strengthen, our democratic process and make sure that our democratic process is not undermined by the inefficiency and corruption, of INEC.
The Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal by a governorship aspirant of the Labour Party in Plateau State, Mr. Yohana Margiv, challenging the nomination of the candidate of the party, Mr. Patrick Dakum. Justice John Okoro dismissed the appeal following the withdrawal of the suit by the appellant after discovering that the matter had become statute barred. A counsel to the appellant, Mr. Okpeyemi George Ojo, had pleaded with the Apex Court to invoke Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act to take over the matter and resolve all disputed issues in the interest of justice to his client. His persuasion was, however, rejected by the five-man panel of justices of the court on the ground that conditions precedent for the court to invoke Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act were not met. Confronted with the reality and the futility of his request, the appellant then announced withdrawal of his appeal and was subsequently dismissed by Justice Okoro. Still from Plateau State, supporters of the Labour Party in the state have been urged to sustain and maintain the momentum of the obedient movement by coming out to vote for the party on Saturday during the governorship and House of Assembly elections. The Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, made this call in Jos during a visit to appreciate the support the party received during the presidential election, which the Labour Party recorded the highest votes in the state.
Labour Party supporters gather at the Yakubu Gowon Airport in Jos Plateau State to welcome the party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who is on a thank-you visit, as well as on a mission to canvass support for the party's candidates in next Saturday's governorship and House of Assembly elections. The first thing it did is to interact with some primary school pupils who were also part of the welcome party at the airport. After that, he addresses party members, asking them to be steadfast in the pursuit of their goal, while also reminding them of the need to maintain the tempo of actualizing the vision of a new Nigeria by coming out to vote for the party again on Saturday.
I show you that Plateau believes that a new Nigeria is possible. We're committed to a new Nigeria. We're committed to a Nigeria where tribe and religion will not be our means of competition, but character, competence, capacity, and compassion should be the watchword.
Labour Party governorship candidate in the state, Patrick Dakum, believes the goodwill of the party's presidential candidate will count positively in the state governorship elections.
If you have a father that is caring, that is competent, that has capacity, then the child will inherit that naturally. So I have inherited the character, the competence, the capacity. But I think above all, I learned another new seed today, and that is compassion. I thank my father for coming here, and I thank him for supporting this movement. And the journey is not yet over. We're in court, and we believe that God will vindicate at the court process.
With the governorship and House of Assembly elections just days away, these Labour Party faithful in Plateau State are hoping that the goodwill experienced during the presidential and National Assembly elections will be replicated at the state level.
In part two, after the break, former Chief of Defense Staff General Martin Agwai asked political parties and their supporters to choose dialogue over violence in resolving political differences. Please join us again.
trending with the Glow Social Data Bundles. Dial *777# or buy via Glow Cafe.
So you gotta have a smile, no matter what it takes. Gotta take your bliss now, and love the way it tastes. Do the pure bliss bar, from the toast to your face. Gotta take your bliss now, feel the bliss today.
Light up your day anywhere, even at home, with the rich, creamy taste of pure bliss.
Every day.
Stubborn dark marks? Try new Nivea Lumina 630. Visibly reduces up to 10 years of stubborn dark marks in just 4 weeks. New Nivea Lumina 630. Get even and luminous skin.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you see as it be now, they call me but no be me show. That's how some business owners will have a different name on their business account from the actual business name. Listen, don't let your customers be suspicious of your business. Sign up a business account with Money Points and get an account in your business name in minutes.
Whatever it takes to make sure you have a business account opened in your business name, we'll do it as your sure banker. Open a bank account in your business name with Money Point.
Looking fresh for your days? Get even fresher with Close Up. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula. It cleans deeply, fights 99% of bacteria, and cools intensely, keeping you protected and fresh.
Let's take a picture.
Still fresh, still protected.
Feeling cool and protected.
All day confidence to get close. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Federal government shifts population and housing census till May this year due to the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections. Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, asked Nigerians to shun voter apathy and participate in Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections. Supreme Court affirms the candidacy of Patrick Dakum as the Labour Party governorship candidate in Plateau State as the party's presidential flag bearer Peter Obi joins his campaign rally. And Russia says it will try to retrieve the remnants of a US drone that crashed into the Black Sea. Right about now, let's head to the nation's capital, and Terry Ikumi is standing by at our Abuja studios. Hello, Terry. Great to have you once again.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Now, former Chief of Defense Staff General Martin Agwai and the Director General of the Nigerian Orientation Agency are asking political parties and their supporters to choose dialogue and legal redress over violence for the sake of national stability. General Agwai was a special guest at the National Dialogue Initiative, which was held in Abuja. Other participants at the event also urged government institutions such as the Independent National Electoral Commission and the judiciary to pursue the course of justice, which they describe as a recipe for stability.
This national stability dialogue.
It's a dialogue on national stability, attended by the former Chief of Defense Staff and members of the civil society organizations in Nigeria. The 2023 general elections and the reactions of politicians and their supporters are the core of the discussions here. The focus is on how to mitigate post-election violence, even in the face of grievances, for the sake of national stability.
need to dialogue with each other. We need to talk in a non-partisan, and we need to talk with neutrality of what is happening. When there is dialogue, there will be trust, and when there is trust, then there will be progress and development.
For all those who are still feeling aggrieved, justice will be in place and peace will still be in place if we follow the due process. Let's talk against violence and not be in it.
For other participants here, the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections left many Nigerians feeling disappointed. Nevertheless, the forthcoming governorship and states assembly elections provide another chance for the electoral umpire to regain the confidence of citizens.
We are going into the governorship election after the betrayal by INEC, because you have no right to go technology, and we pay for the technology, and the technology is not used. Somebody must be held accountable. The judiciary in Nigeria will be on trial before Nigerians.
This is a critical moment in the history of the country where an election whose build-up generated a lot of interest and legitimate expectations among Nigerians ends up building tensions. It is possible for the upcoming gubernatorial elections to restore further confidence in the electoral process. There is a chance for INEC to do this in the coming week.
Over the years, some politicians in Nigeria have exploited existing fault lines to advance their interests during election cycles. However, the consensus at this dialogue is that both politicians and their followers must prioritize national stability over other interests, as aggrieved individuals are advised to seek legal redress.
Still on politics, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, has encouraged electorate and party supporters to ignore the purported threats by members of the PDP-led government in the state and come out en masse to vote for all the Labour Party candidates on Saturday, March the 18th. Dr. Oti made these remarks shortly after his campaign rally at Umuahia local government area of Abia State. According to him, such threats are meant to instill fear in the people and prevent them from exercising their franchise.
The Labour Party's governorship candidate in Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, is in Umuahia, the state capital, as part of his campaign ahead of the March 18 governorship election. The tour is concluded with an appreciation rally at the state capital, where the campaign team is welcomed by supporters who trooped out in their numbers to receive him. Mr. Oti, who is accompanied by the senator-elect for Abia Central Senatorial District, Mr. Darlington Nwokocha, reminds the people that the forthcoming election is critical, as it will determine as well as redefine the political and economic landscape of the state.
80 to 90% of the population who have suffered under the 24 years misgovernance, 24 years of godfatherism in Abia. And this is the time for the change. We can't wait for that change so that this state will begin to be respected once again. This is the state of Dr. Emma Obara, that used to be the fastest growing part of the world when he was the premier. What has happened to us? Because we just have handed over leadership to the wrong people. So Abia people are determined to make that change, and they have my full support.
An ADC senatorial candidate in Abia State, Mr. Ositofo, said Dr. Oti is the only candidate that has the capacity to change Abia State for the better due to his wealth of experience.
We are declaring our support for Dr. Alex Oti because we realize that a vote for Dr. Alex Oti is a vote for integrity. A vote for Dr. Alex Oti is a vote for New Abia. A vote for Dr. Alex Oti is a vote for the ultimate realization of the God's own state that we all have been talking about. A vote for Dr. Alex Oti is a vote for the future generation.
The Labour Party faithful expresses optimism that the door-to-door campaign in the 17 local government areas of Abia State will translate into electoral victory in the forthcoming polls.
Over now to Rivers State, where the former governor of the state, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, is leading the charge from the front for the APC candidate. Mr. Amechi has been campaigning for the party's governorship candidate, Tonye Cole, and his itinerary sees him visit the popular Ilo-Abuchi market in Port Harcourt City and Ogbagbemandoni local government area of the state.
The former governor of Rivers State, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, receives a rousing welcome at the Igbo-dominated Ilo-Abuchi market in Port Harcourt, the state capital. He addresses the traders in a bid to convince them to vote for the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate, Mr. Tonye Cole, in Saturday's election.
When I came, I met 200 doctors. When I was leaving, I had 600 doctors. Bought cars for all of them. Is Wike telling us that 13 flyovers is the cost of all the money we have had in the state? Apart from flyover, let him tell us another thing he has done. I employed 13,200 teachers. 3,000 of them were Igbos. Right. Punish Wike on Saturday. Punish who?
The team moves to Okuzi in Ogbagbemandoni local government area at the town square. The state party chairman asks the people to protect their votes.
Come out on Nasdaq early morning, carry your chair, sit down there, follow your result. Bomber to bomber. If the person no gree upload, don't allow him to go. He must upload. Let them come and say they upload. You must follow that they've uploaded that result.
From there, the campaign pays a visit to the palace of the traditional ruler of Ogba land with an appeal to INEC while the monarch sues for peace.
Let the government to your speech give us peace. Ask people to work. Tell INEC to stop working for people. They should work for the nation. Tell the police and the IG they should protect everybody. They should not be carrying ballot box. It's shameful to see police carrying ballot box.
From today, I expect as you go back, you will give peace to the state. As I expect His Excellency the Governor also to give peace to the state. It will not be and should not be that our sons are fighting dirty in public. It wouldn't do us any good. Not now, not tomorrow. In the final analysis, power belongs to God. And He gives it liberally to whoever He wants to.
The tour ends in Egbeda, Ndoni, and Obrikom, but the message remains the same. Vote for the APC candidate, Tonye Cole.
Well, still from Rivers State, some women have besieged the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Port Harcourt, the state capital, demanding strict adherence to the Electoral Act and the conduct of the elections. The women dressed in all black attire sang while asking INEC to upload the results of the March 18 elections from the various polling units across the state in line with the Electoral Act and INEC guidelines. One of the leaders of the protesting women, Anita Natasha, said the Commission's inability to upload results during the presidential election will not be tolerated this time. Meanwhile, in Ogun State, the ADC governorship candidate Olubiyi Otegbeye has continued to present his agenda to the people of the state. Mr. Otegbeye's latest message was delivered when he appeared as a guest at the Nigerian Union of Journalists Forum in Abeokuta, the state capital. The ADC candidate says he intends to fix the state by creating opportunities for all residents of the state.
Very few people benefit from all the shared prosperity of this state that should have been available to the good people of Ogun State. And that's what we want to fix. And we are going to fix it in using 5 agendas. The first one is to create sustainable and accelerated economic growth. Then we are going to create livable communities livable communities and create new towns as well. We said livable because most of the communities are not in livable condition. Security is missing. It is unprecedented, the level of insecurity that we have. We are going to reinvigorate the civil service. We have wonderful civil servants. We have quality civil servants, but they have been hugely messed up. And then we are going to create infrastructure that are people-focused, not just infrastructure that are self-interest focused. Infrastructure that people need.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, National Bureau of Statistics says country's inflation rises to 21.9% in February from 21.82% in January. That's fastest pace in almost 18 years. That's on Business News. Please stay with us.
First Money is Nigeria's biggest and most preferred agent banking network. Thanks to First Money, millions of people are living their dreams. Meet some First Money agents who are driving this.
One Kisu Kiriki from First Bank introduced me to First Money. I forgot searching for jobs.
Ya taimaki mutane sosai wurin matsowa kusa da yanayin banki. Da sai sun tafiya mai nisa kamin su je su samu banki.
Through First Money, over 1 million people across Nigeria have their financial services needs met daily. In all the accessible local government areas, you're bound to find First Money agents. With First Money, we're bringing financial inclusion and the many benefits that come with it. You first. First Bank.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 naira and get up to 240 gigabyte or a MiFi for 5,000 naira and get up to 125 gigabyte bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband buy.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is to bring to the notice of the general public that pursuant to Section 13, subsection 1 of the River State Traditional Realist Law number 4 of 2015, His Excellency Chief Barrister Nyesom Ezenwa Wike, Executive Governor of River State, in exercise of his powers, has accordingly recognized the following traditional realists and traditional stores in River State. Traditional realists: His Royal Majesty Eze Amewule Bari Opara Owabi, Iyewele Ele Lume Precom, First Class. His Royal Majesty King Sir Swano T.Y. Baridam J.P. Benemene Baha, First Class,
and others respectively.
They are requested to come immediately to the River State Minister of Chieftaincy and Community Affairs for further documentation. The handing over of their certificates and staff of office will take place in due course. They shall reign in peace. This is signed by Engineer Charles Amadi, Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Chieftaincy and Community Affairs, River State.
Welcome back. The Lagos High Court sitting in Yaba has awarded the sum of 400 million naira jointly and severally against the Inspector General of Police, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Commissioner of Police, Lagos, and 2 others over the extrajudicial killing of 4 Ladipo market traders in July of 2001. The others are a former Commissioner of Police in Lagos, Assistant Inspector General Marvelous Akpoibo, formerly of the Area C Command, Surulere, and the Divisional Police Officer Aguda Station in Surulere. The money is to be paid as compensation to the families of the 4 traders. Justice Olufunke Sule Amzat, who delivered judgment in the case today, however, absolved the Lagos State government through its Attorney General from the killing. The 4 traders, Anthony Ezenwafo, Chukwuemeka Ezofo, Izuchukwu Ezema, and Aloysius Osigwe, who hail from Ekulobia, Anambra State, were traders at the Ladipo International Auto Spare Parts Market before they were allegedly extrajudicially killed by the police attached to the Surulere Division on July 21st, 2001. At least 7 people have been reportedly killed by bandits in a fresh attack on Langsom village in Zangon Kataf local government area. The latest attack comes barely 4 days after 17 people were killed by suspected militia herders at Ungwan Wakili community, also in Zangon Kataf local government. The police authorities are yet to comment on the incident, but the executive chairman of Zangon Kataf local government area, Francis Sani, told Channels Television that the gunmen invaded Langsom village in the late hours of Tuesday night to carry out the heinous crime. Meanwhile, the affected community leaders are demanding a redeployment of security operatives in the area. Developing countries, especially African countries, need to pay attention to increasing the capacity of leadership in the public sector. That's the statement of the former INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega, at the graduation ceremony of the Ig Imokwide Public Leaders Program held in Abuja. He further advises that crisis situations should not be seen as an opportunity for leaders to undermine democratic processes.
It's the graduation ceremony of the second class of the Ig Imokwide Public Leaders Program class of 2022. Organized by the Ig Imokwide Foundation, the program seeks to improve the lives of Africans through transformed public service delivery and better access to quality primary health care, starting with Nigeria.
This program is very much at the center of many activities that we are taking on to grow a new generation of African public servants. That generation that will make Nigeria much better than they met it.
Bonding the whole program together is a series of lessons on integrity in public life, establishing the importance of establishing a reputation early in your career for integrity, of understanding what your red lines are and not crossing them, and making sure people understand that you are someone of integrity, even if it slows up your progression in the civil service or public service.
The keynote address on public sector leadership in times of crisis is delivered by former INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega.
In most developing countries, and certainly in Nigeria, the quality of public sector leadership lags behind what obtains in other sectors. And I think it's very, very important, therefore, to always emphasize the need to be alert and to ensure that crisis situations are not used as opportunities by undemocratic leaders to actually undermine what I call good democratic governance.
One after the other, the 52 graduating students are presented with certificates.
Yes.
The vice chair of the Ig Imokwide Foundation speaks on the impact of the program, which is in its second year.
The last part of the program is a capstone project where they have to go and deliver and implement a change program within their organizations. And you can see from our previous cohort who were here, maybe you'll get a chance to talk to some of them, some of the life-changing projects that they have implemented within their organization.
Zukiswa Mkulumba is the first foreign student of the program, and Professor Darlington Obaseki presented the winning project of the class.
Lessons learned and the international best practice and the simulation exercises and the case studies learned from the Nigerian experience, I will take them back home to implement in my country and to make sure that we drive fundamental changes towards the transformation and innovation of the public service in South Africa.
One of the things I came up through was the fact that as a leader, I'm a leader. As a leader, we don't need to use all the powers of your office to effect change. You should be the communicator-in-chief rather than just a commander-in-chief. And you need to harness and build stakeholders' engagement to deliver what you want to do.
The Ig Imokwide Foundation believes that building a critical mass of public sector leaders will improve the quality of public service delivery and governance.
Just days after the Akere spare parts market was burned to the ground by fire suspected to be an arson attack, The governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has visited the scene again, this time to make a donation of 100 million naira to the traders. The donation by Governor Sanwo-Olu also comes on the heel of a promise to rebuild the market and have them return to their business place.
What we see and what we'll continue to preach is that we're stronger when we're together. We're better when we're together. We could have issues. The issues are not meant to divide us. The issues are meant to correct us, put us back on the right track, and make sure that things like that do not open or occur again. That's why I had to come here twice within a week to make that point clear to anybody that is on ethnic bigotry or some religious, division. That is not what our government stands for. And it's important that when we come out like this and we say things that our citizens believe us, and we can push it and follow it up with an action and an implementation. And that's what we have come here to do. The political leader, who is the councillor, the major representative of this location where we are now, is of Igbo extraction. And we're happy that she's doing her work and she's doing it. And she's come out here, a woman for that matter, in a week in which we're celebrating IWD, right? So that for me is the point, is the message we need to take back to all of our listeners. This wasn't an election that we just preempted, to have appointed a councillor, to have appointed leaders in all of their local government. So, and all of them, all of the people that, and that's why we're saying that the little people that have those mindsets, they don't outnumber us. We need to just help to correct those narratives.
Following the Supreme Court judgment on the legality of 500 and 1,000 naira notes, Governor Abdullahi Sule has called for the acceptance of the old notes as legal tender in order to reduce the hardship faced by the people. And now the governor made the call after meeting with bankers in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital.
As you know, in Nasarawa state, we've been having a lot of difficulties, especially with our farmers losing all their produce, what they bring to the market as a result of this policy of no sufficient cash. So I invited the bank managers, to find out from them if now we have sufficient old notes to be able to disburse to the various customers. Their customers, that is our people, are not even feeling comfortable enough to accept the 500 and that's the old 500 and the old 1,000 naira notes yet. So the little that they have and they wish to disburse, people don't feel comfortable enough to accept that. So I'm now calling on our people here in Nasarawa State to continue to accept these currencies because they are still legal tenders and they are still valid until December this year. So whatever somebody is accepting right now, just to make sure that we spend them before December.
For the very latest in the world of business, here's Will Ibong.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks, Ayatunde. Now, Nigeria's inflation is still on the uptrend as the consumer price index for the month of February rose to 21.91% from 21.82% recorded in January, and that's according to latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. The February increase makes it the second consecutive rise in the country's inflation figure this year amid the Naira crunch. Food inflation also rose to 24.35% in February from 24.32% in January. The NBS says the rise in food inflation was caused by increases in prices of oil, bread, cereals, yam, and other tubers, fish, meat, fruits, and vegetables. On the flip side, core inflation declined to 18.84% in February from 19.16% in the previous month. Well, still on inflation, but outside Nigeria, Ghana's consumer inflation slowed to 52.8% year-on-year in February from 53.6% in January, marking the second consecutive time that the rate has dropped in 20 months. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the reduction was influenced by falling prices of transportation and other non-food items. Ghana, if we know, is facing its worst economic crisis in a generation and is in the process of restructuring its debt in order to secure a $3 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund. Now back home, there's need for general inclusion of Nigerians across all sectors of the economy in order to achieve a positive result from the cashless policy initiative introduced by Nigeria's central bank. The Director General of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, who made this known on our Business Morning program earlier today, explained that despite the good intentions of the policy, some issues need to be addressed before its full implementation.
The policy is laudable. It's a direction that we should go. But the implementation, as experts have said, as we have mentioned, the implementation was fraught with error, was fraught with so many missteps. And this will probably give the CBN and those other agencies involved the time to review the implementation of that policy. The infrastructures that we need to put in place between now and December, this is the time for us to start to put those infrastructures in place. The awareness that we need to create concerning this policy, this is the right time for us to start to put those awareness in place. The collaboration that we need to build, the consensus that we need to build, because this is a national, it's less about the CBN governor, it's less about the CBN itself, even though they are the authorities in charge of those policies, but it's more of where we want to go as a nation. And we need the consensus of all relevant stakeholders, organized businesses, the MSMEs, the civil society, the Nigerian, the seemingly inconsequential Nigerian that we think is in the farthest of the villages. We need to bring everybody on board because we cannot exclude, in our quest to include, in our quest for inclusiveness, we cannot now bring policies that exclude the people that we are trying to include.
Now, oil prices fell more than 7% on Wednesday as traders feared a brewing banking crisis could dent global economic growth. West Texas Intermediate futures fell more than 7% to $66.24 per barrel, and that will be WTI's biggest one-day drop since July last year when it plunged 7.9%, while Brent crude, the international benchmark, slid 6.6% to $72.30 per barrel. The drop came as global risk markets sold off following news that Credit Suisse's biggest investor, that's the Saudi National Bank, would not provide more assistance for the embattled bank. Now, negative sentiments deepen in the domestic equities market with a 0.42% drop in today's session as United Capital GSK saw major sell-offs. Ladi Williams has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, today we go deeper in the red as profit-taking continues in the local bourse. And look at it there, 0.42% down, almost 0.5%, 55,490 points, losing that 55.7 level. Market cap, 30 trillion, still holding. Let's look at the activity chart today. It was less volume than we had yesterday. 181 million units of stocks valued at 3.4 billion naira. More deals, 3,908. Let's look at the sectoral performance. Oil and gas unchanged, but banking almost down 2% today. We see the banking industry globally under pressure with the Silicon Valley Bank collapse and contagion risk. So we're seeing that pressure also here with our banking sector in Nigeria. So, and it's also negative market breadth again, just like yesterday. And we did get the hot inflation data for February, 21.91%. Let's see what the Monetary Policy Committee does at the next meeting. And that's a stock market report. I'm Ladi Williams. It's back to you.
Thanks, Ladi. We will look forward to the MPC meeting next week. Now, also, most major global stock markets closed negative as the banking crisis continues to take its toll. And that's it on Business News. It's back to Ayotune for the rest of the news.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first. First Bank.
Many thanks, Will. Russia says it will try to retrieve the remnants of a U.S. drone that crashed into the Black Sea. The large MQ-9 Reaper drone plunged into the water on Tuesday. The U.S. said it brought down the damaged drone after it became unflyable when a Russian jet clipped its propeller, but Moscow has denied these claims. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Pakistan's main opposition leader Imran Khan has greeted supporters outside his home just hours after there were violent clashes as police tried to arrest him. He addressed a crowd and took pictures with those who gathered near his compound in the city of Lahore. In one video, he can be seen wearing a gas mask. Police fired tear gas shells during clashes throughout the night. Punjab Interim Information Minister Amir Mir said the court-ordered operation to detain Mr. Khan was suspended on Wednesday to allow a cricket tournament to take place nearby as the standoff was causing major traffic disruption. Ukraine's foreign minister says incidents such as the downing of a US drone over the Black Sea are inevitable until Russia leaves Crimea.
More difficult thing is
Dmitry Kuleba said he did not expect any diplomatic escalation and described it as a routine incident. The large MQ-9 Reaper drone plunged into water on Tuesday, with the United States and Russia promoting conflicting explanations as to why. The US said it brought down the damaged drone after it became unflyable when a Russian jet clipped its propeller, something the Pentagon described as reckless.
And one Russian jet intercepted and hit our MQ-9 aircraft, resulting in a crash. This hazardous episode is a part of a pattern of aggressive and risky and unsafe actions by Russian pilots in international airspace.
The UK Chancellor says the country will avoid a technical recession this year, despite the economy shrinking by 0.2%. Jeremy Hunt said the economy is forecast to grow by 1.8% in 2024 and 2.5% in 2025. Inflation is also forecast to fall to 2.9% by the end of this year. Fuel duty has been frozen for another year, and government help with energy bills is being extended for another 3 months until June. Defence spending is being boosted by £11 billion over the next 5 years.
Today, the Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts that because of changing international factors and the measures I take, the UK will not now enter a technical recession this year.
At least 225 people are now known to have died after Tropical Storm Freddie swept through southern Malawi. Here, residents of Blantyres and Bayani Township, one of the areas worst hit, are trying to clear up. Some 20,000 people have also been displaced. Many of the dead were killed by mudslides in Malawi's second biggest city. The official death toll in neighbouring Mozambique stands at 20. The death toll from a ferry accident off the coast of Gabon has risen to at least 21, amid reports and allegations that the ship may have been overloaded. Air Force planes and diving teams have been conducting daily search operations. 124 passengers were reported to have been rescued. Critics accused the government of being slow to respond and downplaying the incident, but a government spokesman said they had no information or comment on the allegations. Over 400,000 customers are without power in the United States after bicoastal storms brought rain, snow, flooding and high winds. Overflowing rivers and mudslides have rocked California, where 40 of the state's 58 counties had been under a state of emergency. Up to 3 feet of snow have fallen in some parts of New York, New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Here, the roof of a shopping mall in Minnesota collapsing under the weight of the white stuff. And it's been described as a record like no other. 40-year-old David Venkel dived an incredible 50 metres into Switzerland's Lake Sils without breathing apparatus or a wetsuit. The Czech diver's record vertical plunge to 52.1 metres in a single breath follows his entry into the Guinness World Records book for swimming the length of a frozen Czech lake back in 2021. The Swiss plunge in temperatures of between 1 and 4 degrees Celsius took him 1 minute and 54 seconds in total. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Let's now join Victor Matthias, who's standing by to give us the very latest in the world of sports.
Many thanks, Ayatunde. Now, Kwara Falcons suffered their third successive defeat at the Basketball Africa League this evening, losing to reigning champions US Monastir of Tunisia 85-75 at the Dakar Arena in Senegal. The Nigerian champions dominated the game in the first and won 17-11, but the Tunisians showed experience, dominating the second, third, and fourth quarters of the match 23-20, 23-18, and 28-20. Victor Eze of Kwara Falcons was the best performer in the clash with 22 points and 2 rebounds as well as 1 assist. In football, defending champions Real Madrid and Italian league leaders Napoli have secured passage to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid beat Liverpool 1-0, courtesy of Karim Benzema's goal at the Santiago Bernabeu to qualify for the next round 6-2 on aggregate. Elsewhere, Victor Osimhen scored twice as Napoli beat Eintracht Frankfurt 3-0 at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium to give Luciano Spalletti's men a 5-0 aggregate victory. Meanwhile, before the Frankfurt and Napoli game, Frankfurt fans clashed with police after arriving in Naples despite not having tickets for their team's game. Footage broadcast by Italian media showed hundreds of supporters of the German club throwing smoke bombs and flares at police who responded with tear gas. A police car was also set on fire as chairs, bottles and metal poles were thrown by hooded men dressed in black. They traveled to southern Italy even though Eintracht decided against selling tickets for the away section at the Stadio Maradona for the second leg of the last 16 tie. Still talking football, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says his team is looking forward to a first big European night home tie in a while when they host Sporting Lisbon in the second leg of the Europa League round of 16 on Thursday. Asked whether the tournament is seen as a distraction to their Premier League title challenge, where they lead Manchester City by 5 points with 11 matches to play, Arteta disagrees. And AC Milan's veteran striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been named in Sweden's squad for this month's Euro 2024 qualifiers when he could break Italian goalkeeper Dino Zoff's age record. The 41-year-old last featured for his country 12 months ago and will beat Zoff's Euro qualifiers milestone of 40 years and 90 days set in 1983 if he features in games against Belgium on March the 24th or Azerbaijan on March the 27th. Ibrahimovic is Sweden's all-time top scorer with 62 goals in 121 matches. And that's a wrap on Sports News. I'm Victor Matthias. Thank you for watching. It's back to Ayatunde with the wrap of the news.
Many thanks, Victor. And the main news again. The federal government today announced the shifting of the population and housing census till May due to the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections. The Minister of Information and Culture, who made the announcement today at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting, also announced the approval of 2.8 billion naira to the NCC to procure software for the exercise. Also today, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, asked Nigerians to shun voter apathy and participate in Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections. We also told you that the Supreme Court today affirmed the candidacy of Patrick Dakum as the Labour Party governorship candidate in Plateau State. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Good night and stay safe.
It's another edition of Kaleidoscope on Channels Television. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Today on Kaleidoscope, we sit with the founder and chairman of Choice International Group, who is also the